The Phoenix Suns just made another Exhibit 10D signing as they picked up Tyrese Samuel, who played on their summer league this season. Will Tyrese Samuel be able to make an impact for this Valley Suns and integrate himself to this G League team? We're going to be discussing and breaking down all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love, showing your support over on the channel. CJ and I really do appreciate all the love you really have been giving us. So without further ado, let's dive into the topic at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, we're going to be going over the Suns making another Exhibit 10 deal signing, as they have been just rapidly doing these over the last couple of days. We broke down yesterday in the video talking about Moses Wood, who was picked up on an Exhibit 10-day deal. A couple of days ago, they picked up Jaden Shackelford. They also traded away the rights for Theo Maledon and Trevion Williams to acquire Mamadi Diakite, who they also have in an Exhibit 10 day. And now they went out and got another one in a player in Tyrese Samuel. So let's break that down and let's look at the news here for you guys. Phoenix Suns have signed Tyrese Samuel to an Exhibit 10 contract, a league source told Spot Track, courtesy of Keith Smith. And if you are not already following Keith Smith on Twitter or X, whatever you do, go on and go follow Keith Smith NBA. He is absolutely fantastic. He is one of the best sources for all NBA news, and he was the one to break this down. Like I said, Keith is getting his sources coming in, telling him from Spot Track. Sometimes he beats up Michael Escato, and today he did beat out Michael Escato on this report. So yes, like we mentioned, Tyrese Samuel, a player who did play for the summer league for the Suns team, will be joining the squad, and I have a lot of great things to say about Tyrese Samuel. Number one is that Tyrese Samuel and I went to the same college. That is right. If you do not know, Tyrese Samuel attended the Seton Hall University before he transferred to the University of Florida last season. And I also went to Seton Hall University, where I was in the same graduation class as Tyrese Samuel. So some big things over here. I've seen Tyrese Samuel play with my own eyes in New Jersey for 4 years, so I can give you guys a little bit of a breakdown at what he can do. Personally, Tyrese can play that 4/5 position. I think he best works as a power forward. Not really true as a small ball 5. Isn't as big. Doesn't really have the size and body to be able to, maybe move down some of those smaller opponents. But Samuel can play that power forward position at 6'10" and be a pretty solid rebounder and scorer at that position in the mid-range, scoring underneath the basket as well. Florida, last season he averaged around 14 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 56% from the field and 16% from three. Like I said, not the greatest three-point shooter. Can hit it decent on an occasion, but is known for hitting a bunch of mid-range shots and being a scorer in the paint. When at Seton Hall, obviously throughout his career, he only averaged 8.5 points, 5.1 rebounds. So he did average some more stats over at Florida in an SEC school, playing against with some better players and some bigger opponents. But he also had a more increased role over there. At Seton Hall, Tyrese Samuel was basically a backup wing for a majority of his career over there. He only necessarily really got some big starting time his senior year, where he was one of the more prolific guys. But Seton Hall has always had a prominent group of big men that have, kind of taken over their system, from Ike Obiaku to Sandro Mamukevishvili, who's obviously in the NBA, to then translating over now to Tyrese Samuel. It has been, and Alexis Sentina. It was a kind of a combination of a bunch of guys kind of competing for those spots. Now, Tyrese did get that jump senior year in for the Florida, did look pretty solid in his fifth year playing over there, but never really stood out to really be a top draft pick for Seton Hall at that level. But when looking at his stats at the summer league for the Suns as well, not the greatest. Didn't really play that much, but was allowed to play with this team. Went undrafted, was picked up by the Suns basically a day or two after the draft, was brought into training camp, played for their summer league team, and now is going to be on an Exhibit 10-day deal. Now, like I've mentioned and kind of broken down with the other players that we've discussed accepting these Exhibit 10 deals, guys like Jaden Shackelford, guys like Moses Wood, guys like Mamadi Diakite, I honestly see these guys being cut and then waived, sent to the Valley Suns G League for their start of their inaugural season. And that's something that I'm really, really excited to break down. So let me know what you guys think about Tyrese Samuel. Do you guys like this signing? Do you think he's going to be an impact player? Do you think he's going to be able to even help out Valley Suns? Or do you guys think he's just going to be somebody just chilling at the bottom of the roster? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys know anything about him. But why is this important and kind of breaking this down is I think is really key because Tyrese Samuel kind of going to this Valley Suns team, this Suns team having this inaugural opening season is going to be huge for the development of this franchise. Now, I talked about this a little bit in our video yesterday, but like I said, an abundance of players have already been sent to this team, or not sent to this team, but have been signed to these Exhibit 10 to contracts. And with an Exhibit 10 contract, if you don't know, if a player is waived, it is basically a training camp contract that brought into training camp. If they are not good enough to make the team, which a player like Tyrese Samuel will barely produce on the summer league team, I don't necessarily see him making this 15-man roster. He's ultimately going to be waived and then be sent to the Valley Suns. Now, this allows the Valley Suns, the G League's team, to have an abundance of players, basically kind of just brought in kind of in their system and kind of figure out who can stick and who really wants to play with this squad. It allows the G League teams to kind of fill out their bottom of the rosters, get players that they kind of believe in and want to single-handedly trying to trust and help winning a G League championship. And Tyrese Samuel can be one of those young players. Now, like I've mentioned and kind of hit the hammer on a lot with this Suns team, is this is its inaugural season for the G League. So the Valley Suns, this is their first year. The Suns as an organization have never had young enough talent to kind of develop or kind of believe in or kind of tapping into untapped potential that they can kind of develop because if they wanted that untapped potential or had guys that they had to believe in, they had to give them either roster spots or two-way spots. They would have to be gifted opportunities, and maybe the Suns wouldn't look as good because they can't keep these veterans because they're trying to get some of these young stars to blossom, but some of those young stars aren't fitting out. This now allows that to happen for this organization with the G League being set in place. It allows for some of those two-way guys like Ty Washington who haven't really been able to been gifted a true start in the NBA. Maybe a guy like Colin Gillespie as well to kind of develop, learn, get those skills, harness them, and become better products and players for themselves, but also for the future of the Suns. Because if injuries go down or if players are not satisfied for the future, some of these guys are going to have to step up, and players like that are going to be required to take those roles over. Especially for the G League as well, kind of believing in having some untapped potential guys and guys like Boo Buie, Tyrese Samuel, Moses Wood, teams that have players that have played on other summer leagues that teams have kind of given up on already because they already have their max rosters for their summer league team. It allows the Suns to kind of buy in and kind of get on some guys that are a little bit late bloomers because if you guys do not know, I believe we have the Oops, we do have it here. This is the roster of the Suns team that was gifted at the start when they drafted everybody. Now, obviously, some of these guys are not here. Like I mentioned, players in Theo Maledon and Trevion Williams were traded for Mami Diakite. Justin Smith was sent over for Caleb Johnson. There have been some trades that have affected this roster, so not everybody on this list here is still on this team, but this was the roster that they were gifted, and some of these players could have went overseas, or some of these players could have decided that they not wanted to play for the G League Suns, or could have went somewhere else. So the Suns really have to capitalize and try to find their untapped potential. So going after guys like Moses Wood, Caleb Johnson, Mami Diakite, Jaden Shackelford, now Tyrese Samuel, players that have either played with their summer league team, where they've already understood and have kind of coached and understand their culture, or players that have looked good in the G League, but just haven't had that right step of footing to ensure themselves a spot long term, especially with an OKC Blue team that has an abundance of young talent with their a bunch of draft picks. A team like the Phoenix Suns capitalizing on some of these players, trying to get this G League team ready to go, ready to spark and be competent alongside their parent club and the main squad. And the Phoenix Suns will be huge because it will only show the development for the young players, giving them a path to show we can work from the G League to getting to the NBA. This is the kind of step and process and how it goes, and kind of giving those guys a blueprint to show them that it's not just one stop and then you're done. You're here at the G League, you're here to mature, grow, develop, and get to that next step in the NBA. And then once you get to that next step in the NBA, you're still to mature, grow, and develop to turn into that next star player. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Tyrese Samuel, like I said, someone I saw play at Seton Hall, someone that I am very, very high on. Even though he hasn't looked the best for the Phoenix Suns in their summer league, I still think he'll be a solid G League player if he's brought to the G League team. And I'm excited to see how he looks in training camp. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, how you guys feel about all these Exhibit 10-day signings. Are you guys confident about this Valley Suns G League team? Are you guys hyped up about the G League team? Or do you really only care about the main Celtics? Main Suns team, excuse me, the Phoenix Suns. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Once again, I appreciate all your thoughts, all your comments. You guys have been absolutely killing it over on the channel. CJ and I, once again, really do appreciate all the support. I'm Bruce Velez. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns.